take it slowly at the beginning, and then we're gonna speed up and keep the session going. Yeah, you could see all the speakers. So we are all different product managers. So we have feature PMs, we have customer experience PMs, who are kind of the voice from the customer. Like we have the owners of the features you will see. So actually a good lineup of speakers who knows the product very well and could answer lots of questions. So if there are any questions, please feel free, type them in the chat, and we try to leave a couple of minutes, like 5 more minutes left at the end, where we can answer your questions and have them, like answered in detail. But yeah, there's also like Daniel in the chat. He's also he's also product manager, part of the CXE team, and yeah, he knows a lot as well. So he will help us in answering your questions and concerns. As Kamlesh already said, like this is the session about operationalize or like new threats and how you respond to them, what kind of automation we have, and I will show you the agenda. So we will talk about investigation and hunting. We'll talk about response and remediation. We will talk also a lot about the automation pieces which are in the product. Question? No? Oh, good. And then, yeah, just a couple of new releases on submissions and tenant blocklisting. So this is kind of the agenda for today. And there will be other sessions also from Microsoft and of course, like in this track. So we emphasize in watching them. So there is, after the session, there's the dual use session for MDO and how those products can coexist. There's also one in like similar to what we covered, but just a deep dive in user submissions and the value of it. And there's another one in end user resiliency, so the whole awareness and training piece there. And on this slide, this is setting into context what we talk about, and you could see that we have those like green circles, like investigation and hunting and response and remediation. These are the focus points we would talk about in detail. But there's so much more in the product. So there's the whole prevention and detection part, which we won't cover in the session, but it's also an important piece. And equally, yeah, there's the whole post-breach part, which, because as we are all aware, there is no 100% detection. So there will always be some misses, or we are too aggressive on things. And then it makes sense to have a bunch of tools to deal with it. And we kind of expect this in the product. So the product is designed that, yeah, like end to end, when there are breaches, that you have the tools available, and we'll show you what are these tools and what are the new changes and features. Good. And with that, we will start with the first one. So investigation and hunting, and I will hand over to you, Marika, to lead us through that area.
Perfect. Thanks, Manfred, and hi, everyone. I will start by sharing my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome, thank you. So we're just going to start by looking at this URL click alert, which was triggered by basically a suspicious URL click in the company's Office 365 environment. And so the alert contains details basically indicating that a user clicked on a potential malicious link that was embedded in the email. And then the URL click alert is essentially a very crucial security feature that's built to notify any admins about any potentially malicious URL click within the emails. And so that triggers, basically triggered when a user clicks on the URL that has been or will be identified as suspicious or malicious. And so when the URL is clicked, basically Defender for Office 365 is scanning the included URLs with real time to determine if basically they lead to any malicious websites, any phishing pages, or if it's hosting malware. The alert also correlates to incidents and error. And so Manfred will be talking about that in a little bit more detail. But from the alert, you can actually access the email entity flyout. Here you can just further investigate messages. So the flyout is basically a summary panel. It displays all of the sender information here. You have any of the timestamps, recipient data, basically offering a good starting point for any type of investigation. And then you also have the ability to take any actions within the flyout in itself. You can do preview and download, and Samuel will get a little bit more into the actions that are available. And so in order to get an even more comprehensive view of an email, just to kind of, to investigate, you can navigate to the full email entity page. And so just clicking on this here will open up the email entity page. And so once you open it up, you're kind of presented with a lot of data here. And so basically what we do with Defender for Office 365, we analyze any URLs and files that were embedded in emails to determine if they lead to any phishing or malicious content. And so the email entity is a page that gives you that 360-degree view on any of the emails, all in this one page. And it helps security analysts save time, basically leading to more effective threat protection. It really provides a comprehensive analysis of the email components, all the activities that occurred on the message, and here you can view any attributes of an email that were analyzed and processed by the security platform to basically detect, prevent, and respond to any potential threats. So the email entity page has information and capabilities for analysts to dig in deeper, to see all the intricacies of the email details, any headers, look at preview or download messages, or even just take any actions through the action wizard. And so those actions are all available here. So the email analysis section, which we're looking at the moment, basically showcases an in-depth analysis of the email. Here you can see any of the threat details. You can also see any of the override details. So if there's any overrides that occurred on the message, sender details, recipient details, anything with DKIM or DMARC, domain details, those are all available here. And so there's, it basically provides you an extensive insight into the email and everything that occurred on it. So now I'll just navigate to the URL tab here. And so this URL tab basically surfaces all the URLs that are present in the email and the associated threat that was identified with that URL. So as you can see here, there's a suspicious URL that is flagged by the system, which basically seems to lead to, a Google docs.google.com. And the system has identified that URL as phish. So now I'm just going to navigate to the timeline view over here. So this kind of gives you a deeper insight into a sequential event, basically sequential events that happened within the email. And so it provides basically a detailed breakdown of the entire email's journey, when it arrived, when it underwent any scanning for any malware and phishing, any actions that were taken by the security system, the user, or the security admin. And so you're also able to see if the user submitted a message to Microsoft for review, so you can see these here. It basically provides a context for security analysts or investigators to understand the entire email's trajectory and any noteworthy events or anomalies that were detected during the life cycle of the email. As you can see in this example, the message was initially delivered to the inbox based on the tenant's configured settings. Then the user clicked on it. After clicking on the message, they then submitted it to Microsoft for review. And during the click, it triggered time of click protection. And so based on that and based on the rescan here, it came back as phish. And so the system attempted to take the action on a message, and the message is now located in the deleted folder and out of the inbox for the user. So going into kind of like the next level of detail, you can see more information associated with this URL. And so that kind of takes me to the detonation flyout over here. And so that can be accessed from the URL in itself. Click on the URL opens this flyout. Um, Basically, this is used to investigate the URL and better understand where the URL leads to. Here you can find a log of all of the activities that were observed during the controlled detonation of the URL or file. And here Microsoft has detonated the URL file, which really involves executing the file or visiting the URL. And it's within a controlled environment to observe its behavior without risking any harm to the actual system or users. And so during a detonation, the platform closely monitors the behaviors of the content in a sandbox or controlled environment. It observes how the file or URL interacts, executes commands, communicates with any external servers, or any attempts to exploit vulnerabilities. And so you can see here that the detonation process has flagged potential indicators of compromise, such as attempts to exploit vulnerabilities and to download any malicious content. And so really the goal is with a clear understanding of the threat, investigators are able to understand the sequence of events and establish a response plan that's needed in the company. So that kind of covers some of the aspects of the email entity page. So I'll hand it off to Jazz to walk you through hunting and hunting for similar messages.
Thanks, Mavika. So just now we have seen that the analyst can get more details from the alert and an overall comprehensive view from the email entity. But let's say the attack was not limited to just one user. So in those cases, what security analysts can do is they can hunt for similar threats from the same set of URL or same set of entities like the sender, recipient. If there's an attachment which is potentially malicious, then they can take those attributes as an input and they can expand the search. And to do so, we have two different experiences from MTO. One is the Explorer and second is the Advanced Hunting. So in Explorer, what the users will get is an overall view of their email landscape, which covers all of the inbound, outbound, and intra-org emails. So the data that you see on the screen is categorized into multiple tabs based on the data type and the threat which is associated with them. So what users will get is a detailed view of all of the emails which were delivered, logged, and to narrow down the search further, they can apply the filter and search for any of the sender which they found or they think that it could be a potentially malicious sender, or they can filter the data to narrow down the search. In this case, say the URL was malicious or the URL domain could be potentially malicious. They can go down in Explorer filters and they can look for similar emails which had same URL. Or let's say from the alert, they found out that this particular email and the URL which is in question is malicious. So they can further see what all users got the same email with the network message ID, and they can further take the remediation action. Covering the case which Malvika was just demoing us through. So we have a URL, which is a potentially malicious URL. And let's say the security analysts, they want to expand the search and see what all users they received the URL and they clicked on it. So they can go to the Explorer's URL click tab. There we have multiple filters and they can select the one that they want to filter with. Let's say maybe network message ID, or in this case, let's say we are applying the URL filter. Then this will give you the list of all of the clicks which have happened on the email on the same URL by multiple users. So right now we can see like there are 4 clicks from multiple users which happened on this URL. And what they further can do is they can select the emails and they can navigate from URL clicks tab to the all email tab to see the potentially malicious emails and then take the remediation action. Often the attacks are happening in a pattern. Like there's a set frequency in which the sender is sending you the URLs or sending you the phishing attacks. And what MTO does is we cluster the emails based on the similarities. And the similarities are identified based on the body fingerprint of the email. What's the content of the email? What are the malicious entities that we have identified? And the clustered email is are then categorized into a campaign. So campaign is basically a coordinated attack. And in the Explorer's campaign tab, we provide a detailed view of how the campaign has been uh, working out for the customer and what is the current state of the campaign. So it gives you a timeline view of when it started and what is the frequency in which the emails have been sent, totally how many emails have been sent which are malicious, and what are the actions that MDO system has taken to maybe block the email or put it in quarantine. To expand the search, what the security analyst can do is they can see the senders or sender IPs from the attacks are coming in. So this is also one of the entry points to expand the search and hunt for similar threats from the same set of senders or same set of URLs which are being used. From this tab, campaign, users can also see all of the emails which are part of this campaign. And then if required, they can take remediation action. The attacks from email are sometimes not only just limited to sending just a phishing URL, the repercussions could be expanding across multiple set of domains like the identity or the devices. So let's say in this case, the URL was malicious and it was a phishing URL, and potentially the attacker was looking for credential harvesting. Or maybe this URL was downloading a malware file, malware onto the device. So the overall attack is not just limited to the email, but there are multiple steps which are involved in the attack. And there could be other areas where there is a potentially entity which is compromised. So the security analyst would they do have a capability to expand the search with our XDR capability products like advanced hunting. So XDR is like extended detection and remediation, and advanced hunting provides the option to look for the data across multiple domains of data, which is basically identity data, email data, devices data, and some of the alerts data as well. So users can navigate to advanced hunting through the left pane hunting and then advanced hunting option. And in this case, from MDO, we provide all of our data into email and collaboration schema, which can be later joined with devices or maybe the identity data, or if they want to look for similar alerts, the users can go and check the alert schema and join these tables. So this is a completely KQL based experience where analysts they can write Kusto queries in the Kusto query language, which provides much more flexibility and users can perform a lot more option. They can customize the query, they can join multiple data sets and take the appropriate remediation actions. So in this case, users can see the click events in the URL click events table from MDO. They can also join the click table with the email table to see the clicks from these clicks on this URL joined with the email data. That will give them the overall view of X number of emails had this URL, and then they can take next set of actions. Since this is a completely Kusto-based experience, users need to have a detailed understanding of how the schema looks like and how the data has been stored under these tables. But if users are not comfortable with this experience where it's much more KQL intense, we have a similar experience which can be accessed through creating a new query in the query builder mode. And what this allows us is accessing the same data, but through a uh, completely built user experience where they can go and select the filters. And just like Explorer, we have option to input whatever filter they want to apply, and they can perform the search. So in this case, maybe user was looking for emails which had some URLs which were phish, or they had a threat type as spam, and currently they are in inbox or quarantine. They can run the query and look for the data which is matching with this criteria. Once this is done, they can take remediation action, which Soumya will be covering further. Thank you.
All
Over to
right.
you, Soumya.
Thank you, Judge. Hi, everyone. I'll start sharing my screen. and we'll deep dive into the action part. I hope my screen is visible. So going ahead, as Ijaz, Malvika, and Manfred, they all touch base on the overall workflow for customers. Customers generally come to investigation phase, start with the alert, and they try to investigate if something is bad sitting in the end user's inbox or due to delayed weaponization. So the action did not happen. So how in that case, in MDO, we have capabilities or tools where SecOps can use the tool and do the hunting and take the appropriate remediation action, which might have missed due to delayed weaponization or the filtering stack did not catch it. So we will be covering different places where actions available today. So for the first instance is here in Threat Explorer, like Ijaj was mentioning a few minutes before. So Threat Explorer is a place where you can come to from the left navigation bar under email and collapse section. You would see the Explorer view, and within the Explorer, you could actually put a lot of filters to narrow down your search. And if you find out, hey, something bad sitting in end user's inbox, then you would be able to take action here in Threat Explorer as well. So another entry point or options available for SOC team to take the action is the email entity and summary panel, which Malvika covered in the earlier discussions. So this email entity or this summary panel, what you see here, this navigation bar. So this is called email summary panel, and in the email summary panel itself, you would be able to take action. And this email summary panel is integrated with 6 or 7 different pages we have in MDO. And so the benefit you get is you would be able to take the same set of action in any of the pages, like alerts, whether it is event entity, advanced hunting, summary panel. So many pages, so you would be able to take the action and not coming to Explorer only. So the third place where SOC can take action is the advanced hunting. As advanced hunting also, we discussed a few minutes before. It just mentioned it. So we have this email table. Under email table, we have actions available. So the result set here, you would be able to take the action. So the last piece is where you would also will be able to take manual action is the custom detection. So custom detection is again available under advanced hunting. So let's say if you want to run any query, and on top of it, you just want to periodically hunt for you and take the action as well. So you could use custom detection. Custom detection is a place where you can do semi-automation. So for instance, if you can, you know this, you want to block some sender, and you can put that query here, and any messages coming from that sender, and you want to take some response action. So you could run the query and save the query, and also set up custom detection rule, which will allow you to run that query in some certain frequency and take the remediation action automatically. So that's, I'll go ahead and move to the next segment of the response action. So there are 4 different categories of response action available today. So the first one is mailbox action. So when we are saying mailbox action, that means any email related actions, like you would be able to purge the email. You would be also able to move the messages back to inbox in case of FP, or which is false positives. So the first set of action on the left, mailbox actions, does the same thing. The second category of action is the report submissions. So the report submission is a the good way of telling MDO, hey, you are due to some, if it is a 0-day attack, or if it is just missed by our filtering stack and it landed in the end user's inbox, you would be also able to send the signal to us, and through that, what we will be doing, we will be at least going through and creating all the inputs we got, and then the similar set of emails, or the similar set of threat, if or the similar sort of threat will be blocked in the next set of attacks. The third segment here is the investigation and notify user type of action. So this is basically we have automated investigation and response capabilities. So what it does, investigations, Manfred is going to also cover a lot about it, but I'm just telling what all things you could do. So you can also as a SOC analyst, when we are doing the manually hunting in Explorer, you also would be able to take or trigger investigations. For example, you can trigger investigation on the sender or the recipient or that email, one email as well, so that we what happens after that, so that after that we would be able to club similar sort of emails and create a cluster for you, so that you could easily take the action from one place without running the same query again and again. And then coming to the fourth set of action, which is tenant level block action. So this is again used for the FN management. So block URL, block attachment, sender, and domain. So you would be also will be able to do all these actions directly from all the from Explorer and email entity and summary panel. With that, I'll go ahead and share my screen with the recent announcement we did for the action wizard. Just go ahead here. Okay, so if you would see here, we have, and this is Explorer page. So as a SOC analyst, you would be able to come here and put any of the filter, and if you can see all email view, or you can see the if something is already got and put it in the quarantine. So all those details you will be able to see here. And the first thing, let's get into one example. Let's say the email is a initially it had some URL, and initially when it landed to the end user's inbox, it was a good email. And later what attackers they might do, so they can weaponize the same URL after some time. And then what happens in that case, we will not be able to know or block it before delivery. So here you could also take action on top of it. So for instance, if you see this message is already in the inbox. So if I just open it here, you could see where this email coming from and the URL attachment. If there is anything here, then let's say this URL, this seems to be okay at the first glance of the first time when you see this, it is looking okay. But due to delayed weaponization, the let's say admin understand, hey, this is not a clean URL, so I want to block this URL for rest of the end users. So you could do the same action on here from the take action wizard. And here you could do now multiple actions together. For instance, the message is already in the inbox, and so if you just open this one, you would see some of the actions also will be grayed out, and then or other type of action, because it is already in inbox. So other actions are available, only inbox is grayed out. And we understand this is clean message, so that it is already FN message. So we don't have the report as clean option here. And what as a SOC analyst you could do just with the 3 steps, you could also trigger email purge action. Also, you can send feedback to Microsoft as well, or here. And on once you select report as fish, you would also see one drop down like this. And here you could also select if you want to block the sender or particular URL as well. So for instance, we are picking up one URL, and I'm going to move the messages to soft delete folder. And we can also trigger investigate sender or investigate recipient as well. So this last action here, it will trigger automated investigation and response. So once all this, this is the first step of the action wizard. And the second step, you could also name this entire action so that you can track it later in different experiences. So if you would see here, we are doing the move action or the purge action first, move to soft delete folder. And then we are also doing report as fish, block URL, and investigate recipient as well. So the different type of action at one go. The next step here is to make sure whatever action you are going to take, it is going to impact a lot of customer, and since it has a tenant level block URL, so that means it will not allow any messages containing the same URL going forward in your tenant. So this is a sensitive action. So we recommend the last step here. You should see what action you are going to take, and just double confirm it, and then take the action as well. So once you hit the submit, you would also get what is the status, whether it is all this action has succeeded or it is failed. So you would see the details here in this same panel. So if you see, we have taken 4 different type of FN actions. So we could see the first one, which is move to soft delete folder. You could track the action status, what happened to that action in the action center. Similarly, we have report as fish, so then that you can track on the email submission page. And the last here, this one, it is the investigate recipient. So you could see that here in the investigation page. Also, you could see the tenant level block URL details in the table page. So you could click on this hyperlink to see the details, what happened to that action. So now coming to this advanced and this action center. The action center has pending and history tab. So in the history, you could see the latest action we have taken, and it would also tell you like how much successful, how much failed, and what happened to that action. So in case if it is a bulk action, you would also be able to see the action details after some time. And it works as a proper auditing and action history, so that who has taken that action, how many emails got purged, and all these things you could only see here in the action center as well. In the first page, we also saw we have taken some of the tenant level block action. So once that block has been triggered from the action wizard, you would also will see it entry here under the policy, thread policy, and under tenant allow block list. You would also see what action or what URL is getting blocked. And from here, you could also remove, or you can add more details. You can select and update, delete, all these things. You can do it under the tenant level allow block list. The same thing when we are discussing, we also triggered submissions from the same panel. So if you see, this is the submission action we have taken. So you could see the latest submission here. And what we would be doing that with the email submission, we will be trying to understand whether it is really a fish or it is a good email. So we'll be able to rescan and send the updated status here. From the same action wizard, we also saw this investigation action. So investigation action, you could see under directly through that hyperlink, or you can come to the left navigation bar under email and collab section. Under that, we have this investigations. So what it does, it will try to create cluster and try to show you whether this is really bad, or if the similar messages are present for the other customers as well. So then what we can do, I'll want to cover one more thing here. So this action wizard, it is kind of more contextual now. So this action wizard was there. We introduced it into email entity and summary panel last year, but we have done so many enhancements. So for instance, you would see the actions are now contextual. You could do multiple actions, and it depends on the latest location of the message, and depending on that, you would see a separate flow. So since the message was already in inbox, we have grayed out some options. So for instance, if the message is already quarantined, so that means it is MDO thought it is bad, so it will put the messages into the quarantine folder. And here you could also take the FP action as well. So for instance, you would see the report as clean is enabled and other actions are disabled. And so you would also send the signal saying, hey, this is a good email, but it landed in the quarantine folders. You can take the action from here as well. So this is very high level overview of what admin can do. With that, I think we have some other type of action, like how AIR helps today. That is going to be covered by Manfred, and I'm going to hand it over to Manfred to use.
Thank you, Sumia. That was a there was a lot of information, but you covered it very well. So we have a little more left, a couple more minutes, and I would like to cover what we haven't done so far yet. So you have definitely heard the words already. So there are like playbooks we run. So whenever there's an alert or an event, like within the playbook, we run an automated investigation, and that is able to identify new clusters. So we are looking for similarities. We do it based on different clusters, and we see like what has been like what is in your environment and what not, and like has it been malicious or not. And based on this, we're gonna give you like recommendations. Like that it's either yeah, you should soft delete, so you need to approve the action, or we're gonna tell you like this is suspicious, and yeah, like with the kind of information we show you, that you would know what you need to do. And there are many of those alerts which concludes playbooks or automated investigations. These are just a few of them, and there was a question in the chat about user submissions. So there is a playbook on email reported by users malware, and it will be covered like in very detail in the next session from Dan and Cam. It's not the next, so it's somewhere within the track. There are also other ones like about URL clicks. So if the verdict is going to be changed or URLs are going to be weaponized after the fact, so that we are able to detect those and alert you and show you that there's something like ongoing. And based on this, we run those investigations. So there's SEP alerts. So when we removed files, URLs, or malicious entities, we're gonna alert you on this as well. And as Sumia already covered, you could do manual investigations. So they will help you in running like similar tasks like you would do as a SOC person or as an incident and response person. It's just doing the work for you. And I will quickly show you in a live in the tenant. So it wouldn't matter where you start. You will. This is our idea. You will get like the whole view if you dive in from incidents. If you need the drill down, you will like, so there are definitely SOC teams, they're only triaging the action center and go from there. And if you really need the details, like what was going on, then you would go to the investigations. But you could see like this is kind of the same incident and threat. So there is a malicious URL. It is in the like it's sitting in the mailbox, and then it was weaponized. And you could see on this view, so this is the incident view, and if you go to evidence and response, you would see, I show you this, like there's a pending approval. One, we could already prevent it. So this is when we have SEP'd it already. And when we realized, okay, this URL is actually bad. And then there's the pending approval. So if you go in here, we're gonna show you, okay, the email count is 22. This is like based on a URL cluster. So there's this malicious URL in there. And you could see the messages are still sitting in the mailbox. So not in a mailbox would be good. If it's in a mailbox, it's not good. And if you would click on Open in Explorer, then yeah, you can, like we pre-filtered that already for you, and we have covered it already in the session. So there are many other filters, but it's already pre-filtered, and I could see all those messages in the inbox. I could now do the bulk action, or I could just approve the cluster, and now I will show you how it looks like in the action center. So you would just click in here, and you would approve the action, and then we are doing the cleanup for you. In the investigation, I will show you the playbook, what we do. So it's the same incident and the same alert. And you could see there's another evidence tab. This is, again, we show you like what we have found and kind of the entities. In the log, this is where you can see like what we have done. And this is like where we mimic what a SOC person would do. So you are extracting the IOCs from the message or from the entities, and yeah, you look for anomalies, like was there an inbox rule created? Was there some suspicious volume in sending messages? Was there any mail delegation set up? Was there we also do on-demand detonations. It's all sorts of things. What we think a normal SOC person would do, and then we have the pending action here as well. So there's several ways to lead to Rome, but again, we already confirmed the cluster on the action center. So now we just have to go to history and see if it's cleaned up. And this is about air, so it's gonna help you to be more effective and efficient, and you will save a lot of time if you use it. And the last slide, and then we are almost done, is like some of the releases we have done for submission and table. We have also like the feature we have Daria in the call, but I will just quickly cover. But if you have questions, like ask. So what we recently announced is that and you have seen it probably in the demo, that you can add top level domains to the URL block filter or to the URL block list, which is heavily asked by our customers. So you can block whole URL domains to it. We increased the limits from the table entries, so you can up to 5,000 allows while submission or while doing submissions and adding them, or also instantly 10,000 blocks for senders, URLs, and files. There's also some improvements on if there have been overrides in terms of users, like if they're using sender allow lists, and if there's a block, then the block in the 10 allow block listing is stronger than the allow from the user. And we improved the grading results on our user reported messages, so we do consider them as well, and we emphasize of using that process that your users are submitting messages either to the SecOps mailbox or directly to us, and we can learn from that. And there's also be some improvement on the user experience, like pre pop-ups, like before there's a user submission and after there's a user submission. This is also, everything is GA, and lots of new things are going to come in the next years. So in terms of automation, we want to go ahead and improve or even go a step further and do auto remediation if we are sure it's bad, and that will all come next year. And now we can open it up, maybe 1 more minute for Q&A if there are questions. Or if I have missed something, Achash, Malvika, Sumya, Daria, Daniel, maybe, or just questions from the field. Otherwise, thank you already for listening.
Okay. Thank you, Manfred, for this interesting session. Participants can keep sending their messages in the chat box, and we will start the next session shortly. We will end this session. Thanks all.
Very good. Thank you for joining. Enjoy the rest of the conference and enjoy the sessions. And the next one is already up. Also, like our peers will be there.